Welcome, welcome, welcome. Jake West, Director of Team F1 Sports, joined by Caleb Tallman. This is the Western North Carolina edition of the Friday Night Pressbox. And if you would have asked me before this season started whether we'd be doing a show this late in the season, I would have said heck no, because I thought all the teams around the conference were good teams, but I didn't think any of them would make it this far. But congratulations to the Robbinsville Black Knights going to their third straight Western Regional Championship game. Caleb Murphy and Robbinsville went at it last week at the Big Oaks. Robbinsville came away with big winners. What was kind of just like last week, one of your biggest takeaways from that game? Obviously, we won't concentrate too much on Murphy. We will talk about them a little bit, but this shows mainly just to highlight Robbinsville and their game against Mitchell.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest takeaway you have to have from it is it's really easy for you and I and for others to question from the sidelines or from our press seats on the sideline, but D. Walsh is a Hall of Fame coach with a butt ton of state championships for a reason. Because, I mean, let's be honest, you and I at times this year have not been super high on Dason Gross because, let's be honest, he's not played great at times. And, a big part of us that, well, I don't know if this year's Robbinsville's team's really a state championship contender. So would you be better off playing a younger quarterback to, let him build and prepare for the next couple of years? Well, looks like we were wrong. Other people were wrong, and D. Walsh was right. Even the folks on NC Prep, some of them were wrong. But D. Walsh is right because I don't think a sophomore or junior quarterback makes the plays that Dason Gross made on Friday night because, simply put, he was the best quarterback in that game and kind of shocked everybody and played the best game of his life. And that's what you want. Seniors need to play their best games at the biggest moments, and he 100% did that. And, I mean, not single-handedly, but his playmaking is the reason they won the game.
Yeah, definitely. Usually when you play Robbinsville, number 4 beats you. Well, how about this week? 1-4 beat you. I mean, Dason was 81%, 82% completion percentage, averaged 15 yards per completion, had a touchdown to Cutler Adams to get the scoring going in the game. He was 9 for 11, 152.1 QB rating, 136 yards passing, and then had another maybe 20 yards on the ground, just getting things done with his feet. But I mean, if you're a Robbinsville fan, it's great to see. I mean, like you said, not a lot of people put a lot of faith in Dason coming into this year. We were very critical of him at times, but I mean, that's what good athletes do. They listen to it. They don't take it to heart, and they get it done. And he got it done. I mean, he was the best quarterback on the field. He played like the best quarterback in Western North Carolina on Friday night. And if he keeps that up, I mean, I don't see any team beating Robbinsville because some of those throws he made, he couldn't have put them in a better spot if he'd have walked up and handed it to his receivers. So I don't think you can spend enough time talking about how well Dason played. And if you look at his year and how it's progressed throughout each game, I mean, he's had some stumbles here and there, but his year as a whole has been pretty good. He came out of the gates a little iffy, but so did the Robbinsville team as a whole. I think it just took them a while to get their footing.
Well, and I think one of the things we forget about, Jake, is let's remember all the COVID issues they had. Like, I think that's like a distant memory because it feels like it was so long ago. But I mean, they had some massive quarantine issues. Some kids were actually sick, and I think that had a lot to do with why they struggled. They played great in that first game. Then you come to find out that they might have had some kids that were out or didn't know they were sick yet that played at Brevard and they played bad. That's kind of a pretty good excuse. And then, it took them a week or two after they got back from quarantine to find their groove. But boy, did they find their groove.
Yeah, ever since that Cherokee game, I mean, they just haven't looked back. I think that game woke them up a lot as a football team and allowed them to get on the path that they're on. And going back to their third straight Western Regional Championship game. I mean, talk about the coaching staff, talk about the athletes. It takes everybody on that team to have the run that they're having. I mean, it's pretty awesome stuff to see. But Caleb, if you want to start out, I know you watched some of that game, and I was there on the sidelines. just start recapping that game as a whole. I thought coming out of the gates, Murphy, they got to stop, put Robbinsville 3 and out, got to stop. Murphy got the ball back, and then Kellen Rumfeld throws one of the worst passes of his career and gets intercepted, and then Robbinsville gets up on the board, jumps out 7-0, and never looks back.
Well, I mean, and I think one of the things is, like it happened at Mountain Heritage. It happened a few weeks before that. One of the things Kellen Rumfeld, I mean, I guess it's too late now because his high school football career is over, but is, you get hit hard one time and you don't expect it and you throw an interception. That's one thing. But at some point, too, as a quarterback, you have to learn you can't always get the pass off and you just got to take the sack. Because, I mean, I'd say 3 or 4 or more of his interceptions this year are when he's getting killed, whether he waited in the pocket too long or whether the offensive line didn't give him good enough protection. But it's, you're not Aaron Rodgers out there that can just flick of the wrist while being wrapped up around the waist and make a beautiful pass. Because he's thrown a couple of bad interceptions like that this year, and it finally came back to bite him.
Yeah, I mean, he's just trying to make too much happen. But I mean, with at times the way their offenses look this year, he's had to make too much. Yeah. He's had to go out and make things happen. So, I mean, it just I still don't think he ever got really 100% healthy after taking some bumps and bruises along the way. But hopefully we'll get to see him play more football at the collegiate level, whether that be D3, D2, wherever.
Then again, from what I hear, Jake, when we talk to his dad, I think we'll see him somewhere at the collegiate level. We'll see it might be baseball though, because if you can zip a baseball close to 90 miles an hour, you might find more options than as a 5'11" quarterback from Murphy, But we'll see. Definitely. I mean, loads of talent. It'd be great to see him play anything at the next level. But getting back into the game, I just think that one of the things too is when it came to Dason, it's not like, and you were there, Jake, and I watched it online. It's not like when he dropped back and was making throws. It's not like, oh, I had a clean pocket, 3-step drop, hit my receiver in stride. I mean, no, there was probably half of his passes that he completed. Murphy did a pretty decent job rushing the passer, and Dason said, okay, I'll dodge this tackle, I'll stiff arm this defensive end, I'll escape the pocket, and everything breaks down. And I think one of the things you have to give credit for is guys like Cutler Adams and Brock Adams did a really good job as Brock had 3 receptions and Cutler had 4 receptions. When the play broke down, finding an empty space for Dason to get them the ball. Because as well as Dason played, his receivers did a good job, because a lot of times, Dason did a great job escaping the pocket, but it felt like when he hit his receivers, it felt like they were wide, stinking open.
Yeah, I mean, they found holes in that defense all over the place. I mean, go ahead and play that video if you have it, the highlight video. On the first play, you can see kind of just how genius the play calling is, where Cutler Adams gets wide open. It's almost kind of a pick play with Wiggins crossing and making a block there as soon as it hits Cutler's hands. But I mean, it's just genius play calling. A lot of good coaches on that staff with D. Walsh, Lucas Ford, Jason Postel. I mean, just a ton of good coaches over there. Coach Moody, and you can see there. Here's Dason putting another one right on the money. I mean, just look at the holes.
That's a hole shot.
Yeah, look at the holes in that Murphy defense, and not to take anything away from Dason, because you still got to make the throw. But I mean, Dason was putting it right where it needed to be, and Murphy was giving him a lot of cushion to get open, because I think Murphy was selling out. Murphy was selling out to stop the run, and they did a pretty decent job of stopping the run. I mean, like we said, number 4 did not beat them. Cutler Adams did not beat them. I think he still ran the ball 31 times and had 97 yards. That's probably the least amount of yards per carry that he's had all year in one game. I mean, he did have 3 touchdowns, but he didn't beat them. Number 4, Dason Gross beat Murphy. Not single-handedly, but pretty much. I mean, a big shout out to his offensive line, because the Robbinsville offensive line played great.
Yeah.
And they're just getting better as the season goes on. And it just seems like Robbinsville, seems cliche to say, but I mean, they're hitting their stride at the right time, and all these guys are playing their best football right now. I mean, you don't want to say they played really good in Asheville, but that wasn't their best football. They played really good when they played Murphy the first time without 7 of their starters, but that wasn't their best football. And I still don't think we've seen their best football. And I think you talk to some of their coaches, they'll say the same thing. I talked to Lucas Ford last week. He said, I still don't think we've played our best football yet. And that's true. I mean,
that's scary.
yeah, it is. And they don't have Robbinsville doesn't have their defensive stats put up, but you saw Cutler Adams just make a big tackle there, chasing down Ty Laney. How about the chase down at the end of the half on the fumble Ruski play? Cutler Adams hawked Juwan Allen, got him, tackled him at the 2-yard line. That would have put it 14-14 heading into halftime. I mean,
that was a backbreaker for Murphy.
Yeah, that's a play that kind of gets overlooked, I think, but that was that put the nail in the coffin, I think, because after that, Murphy never really recovered. And Robbinsville, I mean, that's heart. If you've got 11 kids that play as hard as he just did, or as he is playing, and all these kids seem to be bought in, you're going to be hard to beat. And that's why I think Robbinsville is going to go to the state championship game, and I think they're going to beat Tarboro in the state championship game after they beat Mitchell this week. But as long as Dason keeps playing like that, and Brock and Wiggins and these kids keep getting open, and even Cage coming out of the backfield, he's a good weapon. I mean, they're just hitting on all cylinders right now. And once again, can't say enough about how well 14 played. I mean, it was great performance from him. And he really showed up and showed out. I mean, it was Nathan Collins-esque the way he played back there, and the way he was kind of cool, calm, and collected, and just kind of commanding this game to go in the direction that he wanted it to go.
Yeah, I mean, not enough can be said. And they did what Murphy did to them last year, Jake. They just beat them solidly, hands down. I mean, there's nothing more to it than that. And Robbinsville looks like they really could be the team to beat in the entire state right now, because I think you look at Mitchell, and I think you look at Pender, and I think you look at Tarboro. They're winning, but I don't know that they're necessarily playing their very best football. And Robbinsville is, I know you're saying they've not played their best football yet, but they're peaking. I mean, they're getting to whatever that level for them may be. And it's looking like that level is a lot higher than we thought it ever could be. I mean, they're playing absolutely incredible on all facets of the game. And I think one of the things that you have to see right now, Jake, that absolutely 200% has to be in Robbinsville's favor, okay? Let's look at, and we're going to talk about those other games in a second. Mitchell, though, let's look at the other 3 teams that are left. Mitchell, they threw the ball 1 for 3 last Friday night. They only threw it 3 times, okay? Let's go look at Pender. Pender won over Northside Pinetown. Pender 1 for 3. And then you go over to Tarboro, who won 0 for 3 passing the ball. So you're telling me teams that can't throw the football at all are gonna beat Robbinsville, a team that, you know, if Robbinsville can survive, who was it they played right before Murphy?
North Rowan.
If they can survive North Rowan and Murphy's passing attack, Robbinsville can stop the run. There ain't no doubt about that.
Yeah.
I mean, they can stop the run.
Yeah, definitely.
And so I think, you know, football is a game of matchups. You know, Team A can beat Team B because they match up a certain way. And Team A can lose to Team C, but Team C can beat Team B. Like, you know, I mean, that's football. I mean, that genuinely is football. I mean, Murphy beat Cherokee, but Cherokee beat Robbinsville, and Robbinsville beat Murphy twice. So when you look at it from that perspective, I think matchup-wise, it's looking really favorable for Robbinsville, because what other teams try to do, Robbinsville is good at stopping. And Robbinsville's offense right now is the most balanced offense left in all of the 1A playoffs.
Yeah, we'll get into talking about the game, the Mitchell game, here in a second after we go to break. But there's a few guys I want to mention before we do go to break. that played really well last week and are going to have to keep that up coming into this game against Mitchell. I mean, they've got kids that you don't really hear about. I mean, you hear about Carlos Wesley, but I don't think you hear about him enough and how well he plays. And Ben Wachacha, and I mean, Jarrett Panama, all those kids, when they get, especially the kids like Panama, when they get action, they make it count. I mean, Wesley and Wesley, Lopez, Brooms, Cage, all those kids are out there every play, and they make it count. But the big thing for me is seeing these kids step up for Robbinsville and make things count, because Titan Tiskesi, not Panama, is the one that really stepped up last week and played really good. Number 77 on the line. Tisteski shut down everything that was coming his way. And I mean, if there was going to be a player of the game, it would be Dason, but he was right there behind him, because as a freshman, he stepped up and played great, played his butt off. And then there's other kids like Riley Tolbert and Ben Wachacha that played great also. And if they keep that up, I mean, I just do not see Mitchell being able to compete with him. I know for some reason Robbinsville's the underdog, and we'll get to that in a second, but I think this is Robbinsville's game to lose. But let's take a break, and we'll come back, and we'll talk about what needs to happen in that game for both teams to win when we get back from the break.
At Circuit World, we offer a wide selection of major appliances, name brands like Whirlpool, LG, Frigidaire, and more. Looking for furniture? Come by and browse our showroom, or check out the Endless Aisle, a touchscreen kiosk with thousands of options. Need electronics, gaming computers, laptops, desktops, tablets? We have it all. OLED or QLED, 4K or high def. We have the selection to get you the TV of your dreams. And don't forget, at Circuit World, your credit is always good. So ask about our convenient payment options and 120 days, same as cash. Come see us today at one of our 5 area locations.
Hey girl, back so soon?
Yeah.
Third time this morning.
Feeling too familiar with the bathroom these days? It's not just you.
Hey girl, look who made it 15 minutes.
At Erlanger Urology, we make it easy to talk about overactive bladder and treatments that work.
Hey girl, you not coming in?
No, I'm good.
Well, okay. I'll be here, because I'm stuck.
Learn more at itsnotjustyou.com. Erlanger Urology.
In 1981, Reed Nicholson began selling tires out of an old barn in Mineral Bluff. Little did he know that he had just laid the groundwork for the most trusted names in automotive services in the Blue Ridge area. In 1997, Nicholson Tire Center became what it is today, holding the same values of faith, family, and great customer service. 2 locations to serve you, and the Blue Ridge location is currently expanding to offer fast service and the largest U-Haul provider in Georgia. Nicholson Tire Center, Blue Ridge, and Mineral Bluff.
Welcome back, Jake West, Caleb Tallman. This is Western North Carolina edition of the Friday Night Press Box. But like we were saying before we went to break, just shout out to these younger kids that have really stepped up. Panama's name was in my head because he was the Murphy Killer the first time these two teams played. And I guess Dason Gross was the Murphy Killer in the second game, but Titan Tisteski, just a freshman, he's going to be somebody to watch out for coming up. And for me, let's get right into this Mitchell game. For me, Briley Tolbert, Cage, Eddie Brooms, Carlos Lopez, Carlos Wesley, those kids.
Carson White.
Yeah, I'm talking about defensively.
Defensive line, my bad.
Those kids are going to have to play really, really good, because Mitchell is going to run quarterback dive at you all night, and they've been successful at it all year with Turbyville. And if you want to play those Mitchell Robbinsville highlights from last year, we can see how Robbinsville was successful at stopping it. But those kids are going to have to play really good. I mean, Tolbert's been in the backfield this year a couple times. So has Hill. So has Cage. So has Eddie. So, I mean, you've got to get good defensive penetration to be able to stop Turbyfield and the Mitchell running attack, because you talked about how Mitchell only threw it three times last week?
Yeah, they did hit. It was 3 times. The one completion was for 87 yards, though.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously you don't want your secondary to get complacent back there, but you're going to need your defensive line really to get really good penetration and sell out to stop the run, because I don't think they can beat you through the air. I mean, you've proved, if anything, coming into this year, your weakness was your defensive secondary, and you've proved in the last few weeks that you are good enough to be able to stop teams through the air. I mean, Murphy's a really good team with a really good passing attack, and that was completely shut down last week.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the things is, like, when you look at Mitchell's going to have to avoid giving up the big plays, because, like, last year, I know he came as a bit of a surprise to him, but Cage Williams gashed him last year. I mean, and that's what we're looking at right now is last year's highlights. And I think that similar to last year's games, Robbinsville's offense right now is very balanced in a lot of ways. And if they can keep that same balanced offense, I think Mitchell, if Mitchell wants to take away the run, go ahead. I don't think they're actually capable of taking away the run, but Dason Gross is playing well enough right now that, okay, if you take away the run, Dason will lead you to victory. I just don't see Mitchell putting up a lot of points running quarterback dive. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, I think it could be a lot. The score could be a lot like what we saw last week. And, I mean, last week we were both completely wrong because we both said Murphy was going to win, and we need to eat our crow on that one. But Robbinsville was the more physical football team, and the more physical football team wins. Now, Robbinsville's going to run up against a Mitchell team that's very physical. So I'm not going to say they're going to run away with this one at all. But I think, like you said, Mitchell may not be able to put up points to compete. I think we could see a 21-7, 28-14 football game, kind of like we did last week.
Yeah, and I think if you're Mitchell, if you have a hope of winning, because here's the thing: we're both going to be picking Robbinsville from the way we're talking, but I do think that I'm not saying it's impossible for Mitchell to win. Like, Mitchell's a really good football team, and I know we have some Mitchell folks that will be watching this, and Mitchell's got a good chance in this game. I'm just, if I'm laying money down, or if I feel like, I feel like one team's going to win it, I think it's Robbinsville. But what I'm getting at is that Mitchell is going to have to keep this low scoring. And you saw from last year's highlights that we just shared, the big thing about them is they gave up big plays.
Yeah.
And actually, here's the thing. Mitchell gave up big plays to Mount Airy last week. Honestly, go ahead and ask a Mount Airy fan, and they said Mitchell shouldn't have won that game because, bogus holding calls. I know Mount Airy had a couple of long touchdowns called back. Whether there's holding or not, that still shows that whether your left guard or left tackle held, that does not equate a 70-yard play. That might equate a 15-yard play because I got a little bit extra, but it's like if you get to Mitchell's secondary or second level, you can really hurt them. And so if you're Mitchell, to stay in this game, you're going to have to hope to win, a 14-10, 14-7 ball game type deal, and you need to find a way to keep Robbinsville from hitting big plays. If Mitchell's defenders are looking at the back of Cutler Adams, it's going to be a long night for them because you ain't catching Cutler.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to talk about things of the past, but what's happened to Mitchell every time they've ran into a Smoky Mountain Conference team? I mean, it just seems like Smoky Mountain Conference teams are their death. So
except for that one Swain team. That's what they always go back to. You go on NC Preps or you talk to one. We beat that Swain team in like 2019. It's like, that's the one time.
Yeah.
You couldn't beat Andrews, who had a second round playoff exit, right? I mean, here's what happens when you play a team that their goal is to be physical and you out physical them. It's hard, and that's what happens when they play Smoky Mountain Conference teams. Mitchell, in their area, in their region of the state, especially at 1A, but really 1A through 4A, they're the most physical team on their mountain. They're not the most physical team when you come to our mountains over here on the far west side of the state.
Yeah, I mean, I think this game's just going to come down to obviously who wants it more, but is which team's going to go into this game just thinking that they can walk away with a victory, and which team's going to go in there and think they have to earn a victory? Because the team that goes in there and thinks they have to earn it is the team that's going to win the game. And I just think with the attitude this Robbinsville team has, I mean, they've kind of been from the start of the year, it's kind of been like, it's not going to be Robbinsville's year. They're going to be okay, maybe second round exit, but wait till Cutler and Cage and this sophomore class gets older, and maybe next year or their senior year, they'll be really good. But they're really good right now. They're in a position where they could go to 6 straight Western Regional Championship games with this team they've put together. So, I mean, I just think their attitude is kind of go ahead and count us out. They're probably not going to like it that we picked them to win this game because they like being the underdogs. And Massey Ratings has them as the underdogs, 7.5 point underdogs against Mitchell. And it being at Mitchell, that's a really tough place to play. So we'll see. But I think Robbinsville gets off the bus. They come away with a victory in this one.
Yeah, and I'd agree with that. And I mean, when we look at it from a perspective of common opponents, right? Only a common opponent they have was, well, I mean, I guess Mitchell played Swain in the playoffs. They beat Swain in the playoffs this year, but Swain was nothing super special this year. But and Robbinsville beat Swain pretty handily too. So that's that matchup even, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, what about when they played Andrews? Mitchell lost to Andrews 26-14, and I know that the Andrews fans, or the Mitchell fans, will say, "Oh yeah, we were so banged up." Blah blah blah. Okay. Well, you lost to Andrews, and Robbinsville beat Andrews fairly comfortably. So I just think the biggest thing in this game is, and I don't see there being a change in Mitchell's offense. If you're Mitchell, you're going to have to throw the ball a little bit, and you're going to have to come up with something other than quarterback dive. Because I'm telling you right now, the Mitchell fans can tell me what they want me to do on air next week for our show. But they're not going to run quarterback dive 25 times for 150 plus yards. It's just not going to happen against Robbinsville. I mean, Robbinsville's interior defensive line, their linebackers, Cage Williams, Cutler Adams blitzing from the safety spot, outside linebacker spot, wherever they move him around to. Quarterback dive is not going to beat you. There's going to have to be more diversity than that.
Yeah, I agree. And I think on the opposite side, I mean, the offensive line of Robbinsville is going to really protect their guys. And I think Cutler is going to, I mean, obviously he's going to get the ball 25, 30 times. I think he's going to make it count. And I just think you said it earlier, when you play a team that hangs their hat on being physical, and that's how they win ball games, when they play a team that's more physical than them, obviously it doesn't work out for them. So, and I think Robbinsville is the more physical football team. And I think that's why they're gonna go over to Mitchell and come away with a victory. But one thing we haven't talked about so far that I know you want to talk about is how Mount Airy, the world beaters, are out of the playoffs.
Bye-bye. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I said it last week. Same goes for Eastern Randolph. Same goes for Mount Airy. These gadget spread offenses that, they're high flying. We score 70 points a game. They come over and they play Mitchell. They play Robbinsville. They play Murphy. And they get their butts handed to them year in and year out. Because at the end of the day, this isn't basketball. This isn't, a non-contact sport. At the end of the day, in football, you look at high school, college, NFL, whichever level you want to go to, the teams that win, the teams that consistently win are the teams that get great line play, the teams that get physical tackling, that can make tackles without, letting guys slip through. How many missed tackles did so-and-so have? Well, you know what? When you face physical teams, you have to at least match the level of physicality. Speed kills, but not if you're getting dominated at the line of scrimmage. And that's what happens to Mount Airy. That's what happens to Eastern Randolph. And that's the reason a team like Tarboro. I know they're not a mountain team, but Tarboro has their rich tradition and their rich history running the triple option and just absolutely bludgeoning you at the line of scrimmage. Bigger, physical, more strength to put behind their running backs and such. And that's the story of it. And like, when you look at the 1AA, it seems like Tarboro's won it every single year. And, they lost to East Surrey that 1 year, but that was after dominating East Surrey for several years in a row. And so I think at the end of the day, is it a huge surprise, Jake, that we have 4 run-first teams? Now, granted, Robbinsville has recently shown the ability to pass the football a little bit more, but is it any shock that we have a bunch of run-first teams that play really good physical football as your 4 state semifinalists?
No, I mean, I think this is what we all saw coming. I mean, a lot of people bought into the hype of Mount Airy. Oh, their defense has only allowed this many points. Oh, they've scored this many, yada, yada, yada. And now there's a lot of excuses as to why they lost last week. But, I mean, Mitchell is a very good football team, and they're very physical, and that's why they won last week. So it's going to be fun to see this kind of clash of titans once again. And both teams have a lot of bulletin board material. I mean, Mitchell lost last year. Robbinsville, a lot of people say they shouldn't be and shouldn't have been in the spot that they're in right now. I mean, nobody thought they'd be in the Western Regional Championship once again, and they've got a bad taste in their mouth after getting bounced by Murphy last year and seeing Murphy go on to win the state championship. So anytime it seems like Murphy wins the state championship here recently, Robbinsville's only goal is, and I know this is not true, but Robbinsville's goal is to make sure that they can keep distancing themselves in the state championship race over Murphy, because each time Murphy gets one, they creep a little bit closer. I know Robbinsville doesn't like that, being Titletown. So, I mean, both teams got a lot riding, obviously, and Robbinsville, not a team full of seniors, but seniors that they have a team full of seniors that are going to go out there and really compete and really, I mean, put it all on the line. We saw Dason last week, I mean, play his best game of his life. You said it, and I think if he goes out there and does it again, Robbinsville's going to win. And I mean, there's not much else we can say. I mean, we've only got this one game to talk about this week. Obviously, we're not going to go for an hour. So, Caleb, is there anything you want to mention? What's one guy that needs to play really good? Not Dason, not Cage, not Cutler from Robbinsville, but just some guy that's going to go unsung that needs to play really good to fill those holes and stop Mitchell and make it to the state championship game.
Well, you just mentioned all the ones that we know that they need to have a good game. I think a guy like Brock Adams could be a game changer in this game because same with Isaac Wiggins. Because I think you are going to see Mitchell take a couple of deep shots in this game. They're going to have to. Yeah. And the difference in this game could be, do Brock Adams and Isaac Wiggins come down with an interception or two on these deep balls? And do Brock Adams and Isaac Wiggins, there, come down with a couple of big catches offensively? Because as much as we want to talk about the run attacks, I do think this game's going to come down to 5 passing plays probably. So I think the two teams will be fairly evenly matched in the run. I'd give a slight edge to Robbinsville because of their diversity. But I think the game really does come down to if Mitchell's quarterback goes 3 for 4 for 150 yards and 2 passing touchdowns on deep balls, and Robbinsville goes back to where they have a 5 for 10 or 4 for 10 night passing because Mitchell's DBs played really good, then I would favor Mitchell in the game. I don't think that's going to happen, but if you're Robbinsville, you tell those corners, listen, I understand that they're gonna run some RPO stuff that'll be tricky, Jake. They did that last year against Robbinsville, and they did hit one really long pass at one point where they went RPO fly route to the tight end right up the seam. And so if you're Robbinsville's DBs, better to give up a 5 or 6 yard run because you force the quarterback to throw it on the RPO than to let a wide receiver get behind you.
Yeah, I mean, Isaac Wiggins was going to be the guy that I was going to say needed to play good because of just what you said. I mean, they're going to try to go. They're going to try to go deep, but also offensively, they're going to need every ball to be caught. I mean, and that's what happened last week. Dayson put it on the money, but also those receivers caught the ball. We saw some of Murphy's receivers kind of have butterfingers. They weren't able to come down with balls we've seen them come down with in the past, and that hurt them and lost them that game. So I think definitely the D-backs and Isaac Wiggins and Brock Adams are going to have to play good. And also, I mean, the guys up front, obviously, it comes down to the guys up front every game for Robbinsville. Teese Teskey, just a freshman. He's going to have to play really good. Ben Wachacha, he's been awesome all year. Haven't sung his praises enough. Carlos Wesley, Carlos Lopez, I mean, Riley Tolbert, all those guys we mentioned earlier are going to have to play really well. And especially like the linebackers, like when Tolbert and Williams and Brooms get into pass coverage, maybe that's when Mitchell will try to take a deep shot. So maybe those guys are going to have to play. They're going to have to amp up their pass coverage really well. We saw Robbinsville pick Murphy apart by getting Cutler out of the backfield and having some linebackers cover Cutler, and Murphy's linebackers look lost in coverage. So I think that's going to be a big thing for them. But all in all, I mean, I just think Robbinsville's the better, well-rounded football team than Mitchell is. And I mean, as long as those guys like we mentioned, step up and play really, really good football, then I think it's gonna bode well for Black Knight fans.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think at the end of the day, one thing we've not talked about is Mitchell getting the home game. And I from what I've read on NC Preps and saw a little bit, it seems like the Mitchell crowds have not been what you'd expect this year, Jake, for playoff games. And so that could be a big deal. Is can Mitchell get a huge home crowd advantage? But hey, we'll take our last break here, and we'll talk about that Tarboro Pender game a little bit, and then just give our final thoughts on this one. So Caleb Tall for Jake West. We'll be right back to wrap up the show.
At Circuit World, we offer a wide selection of major appliances, name brands like Whirlpool, LG, Frigidaire, and more. Looking for furniture? Come by and browse our showroom or check out the Endless Aisle, a touchscreen kiosk with thousands of options. Need electronics, gaming computers, laptops, desktops, tablets? We have it all. OLED or QLED, 4K or high def. We have the selection to get you the TV of your dreams. And don't forget, at Circuit World, your credit is always good. So ask about our convenient payment options and 120 days, same as cash. Come see us today at one of our 5 area locations.
Hey girl, back so soon?
Yeah.
Third time this morning.
Feeling too familiar with the bathroom these days? It's not just you.
Hey girl, look who made it 15 minutes.
At Erlanger Urology, we make it easy to talk about overactive bladder and treatments that work.
Hey girl, you not coming in?
No, I'm good.
Well, okay. I'll be here, because I'm stuck.
Learn more at itsnotjustyou.com. Erlanger Urology.
In 1981, Reed Nicholson began selling tires out of an old barn in Mineral Bluff. Little did he know that he had just laid the groundwork for the most trusted names in automotive services in the Blue Ridge area. In 1997, Nicholson Tire Center became what it is today, holding the same values of faith, family, and great customer service. 2 locations to serve you, and the Blue Ridge location is currently expanding to offer fast service and the largest U-Haul provider in Georgia. Nicholson Tire Center, Blue Ridge, and Mineral Bluff.
Welcome back, Jake West, Caleb Tallman. Not much else to talk about. Just tell us about this Pender and Tarboro game. Tarboro, a 22.5-point favorite. Tell us what you know. I mean, we talked a little bit last week about both of these two teams' Elite Eight matchups, and I told you Pender was going to pull off the upset, and here they are in the Eastern Regional Championship game.
Yeah, absolutely. Pender beating Northside Pinetown, who Murphy saw in the state championship last year. That's one thing I did want to mention, Jake. It's just interesting when you look at last year's elite. When you look at last year's 2 Final Fours from Big 1A and Little 1A, and then you look at this year's Final Four and Elite Eight. I think 6 of the 8 teams are the same. You got Murphy, you got Mitchell, you got Tarboro, you got Northside Pinetown. So I just thought that was interesting that we talked a lot about the 1As being split and now they're all together. And you still got a ton of the same teams just right there. So that's intriguing. But yeah, Pender pulled off the upset, got off to a huge early lead, 18-0. And then they scored in the second quarter. It went to halftime 26-7, almost similar to how Murphy beat Northside Pinetown last year. Northside Pinetown came storming back, 14 unanswered in the third quarter to make it a 21-26 game going into the fourth quarter. Each team scored once. Or 26-21 game going into the fourth quarter. Each team scored once in the final 34-8. But we talked about it. Pender, all rushing. Antonio B. rushed 19 times for 168 yards. And Kelvin Robinson rushed 16 times for 94 yards. And then you go over to Tarboro. Tarboro beat Northampton 27-8, but it was closer than that, Jake. It was 14-8 at halftime, okay? Then Tarboro doesn't score till late in the third quarter to make it 21-8, and then they tacked one on late to make it 27-8. But, it looked like Northampton stayed in the game for quite a while from that perspective. But Tarboro, 0 for 3 passing, 0 passing yards, and they rushed 46 times for 242 yards. And interesting enough, though, they gave up 170 yards rush and gave up 4.3 yards of carry to Northampton. And so just really interesting. It could be one of those games, Jake, where we see a combined 2 passes between Tarboro and Pender. So I'm really not sure who I favor in this matchup, but I'll go ahead and give my pick just because they're Tarboro. I would say Tarboro finds a way to win this one to meet my prediction of Robbinsville in the state championship game. What about you?
I think that's pretty accurate. The fact that it's at Tarboro, I think Pender's run is over. Tarboro may have gotten woken up last week by a Northampton team that Robbinsville saw in the state championship a couple years ago, and that may have just awoken the beast. So I think we'll definitely see, unless something goes awry for Tarboro, I think we're going to see a Tarboro Vikings team in the state championship once again. And I think Robbinsville's going to go to Mitchell and get it done. I really do. So I think we're going to see Tarboro and Robbinsville in the state championship. And I think we'll have one more Friday night Pressbox show next week with the Black Knights making it to the state championship game, hopefully. But it's not often that I pull for Robbinsville. It's not often that I'm hoping the Black Knights get it done. But I hope they do this week, and I hope they put Mitchell in the ground. I hope they come away with a victory, and we've got another state championship game to cover again. So, and you got anything else?
Yeah, the one last thing, you mentioned it, but I just pulled it up during the break for the sake of just saying that we did, and to egg on those Mitchell fans just a little bit more when it comes to Smoky Mountain Conference. Let's go back 5 years ago, 16-17 season. Mitchell loses 38-13 to Murphy in the playoffs. Okay. Go back to 17-18, 4 years ago. Mitchell loses to Cherokee 42-28 in the playoffs. Let's go back 3 years ago to the 2018 season. Mitchell loses to Murphy 33-29 in the playoffs. Last year in the playoffs, 2 years ago in the playoffs, Mitchell loses to East Surrey, who went on to win the state championship in Big AA That's the year they did beat Swain in the playoffs, but that they didn't have to face Mitchell or Murphy or Robbinsville, just for the fact that they went big 1AA and those other two schools stayed small 1A. And then last year they lost to Robbinsville 28-20 in the playoffs. So 4 out of the last 5 years, a Smoky Mountain Conference team has eliminated Mitchell from the playoffs. And honestly, Jake, I'd say 3 out of those 5 years, if Mitchell finds a way to get past a Smoky Mountain Conference team, they could have 3 state championships in the last 5 years. That's not unrealistic if it wasn't for Smoky Mountain Conference teams. And so if you're looking for a rabbit foot, or if you're looking for, the pot of gold at the end of a rainbow as a clue to way this game's going to go, Smoky Mountain Conference teams, specifically Robbinsville and Murphy, are that Mitchell kryptonite. I don't see it changing on Friday
night. Yeah, I agree. I think we're going to be back here on Thursday next week talking about Robbinsville and Tarboro in the state championship game. So, and hopefully we are. So congratulations to Robbinsville for making it this far. 3 straight Western Regional Championship games. I mean, what a run they're going on, and it doesn't look like it's going to stop anytime soon with the underclassmen they've got. So congratulations to the Black Knights, and we're pulling for you. We hope you get to win this Friday night. We'll be there. We'll have updates on FYN Sports Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and stuff like that. So stay with us. We'll keep you updated, and hopefully we'll get to travel and see another state championship game. So for Caleb Tallman, this is Jake West. That's going to do it for our Western Regional Championship preview of the Friday night press box.